Hello everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove. Thanks for joining me today. I thought we'd do our Santas here and I will refilm the bear. I kind of screwed up doing voice recordings, so I've meant to release these videos a couple of weeks ago, or at least a week and a half ago, and it was a disaster when it came to trying to get the voiceover to work. So I've had a few requests on the Santa, so we'll do Santa today. And these are just really fun little quick sketches and watercolors that you can add to anything. You can turn them into ornaments, you can cut them right out, and just have some fun with them and build up these characters. So there's a moose I was playing with and some of my original snowman ones. So we're gonna work on these guys today. Just a quick sketch and a fun paint-in. So grab your pencil, whatever pencil you have. So here's just a standard HB pencil, a piece of watercolor paper, and this is 140-pound Artist Loft watercolor paper from Michael's. It's not the greatest watercolor paper in the world, but it's great for these kind of projects, and it's relatively inexpensive as far as watercolor is concerned. So we're going to sketch our little Santa here, and I like my big fat cookie eating Santas. That's just the look I like. He's kind of like an old world looking Santa, which is also kind of the thing I like to do. So we're going to start with pencil, and we're just going to give ourselves a little bit of a wonky line here, and that's going to be the brim of his hat. So then I'm going to give him his hat coming down with the pom-pom. And of course you can shape his hat or his body any way you like. Then we're going to bring out the nose here. So he's got a nose, and then right off the nose he has a big mustache, and then another little indication of the mustache on the other side, a little bit of a lip, and then his big curly beard. His beard goes right up into his hat. So then we'll give an indication of an eye here. So you can see, you can frame his face any way you like. Very relatively simple to kind of give him a face, because it's not a realistic face, more of a cartoon face. And then his body's going to come right down off his head. He doesn't really have a neck. Let's do the arm here. So his shoulder starts around his beard. He has a bit of an elbow, and then an arm. He has a cuff, and then he has a mitt, and then he's holding a sprig, and then his belly comes out from underneath his beard. You can make him as fat or as skinny as you like. And then he's got a belt. So the belt kind of comes in a little bit here, so it's cinched in his waist. And then he's got a band here that holds the belt on. And then to come around the front here, he'll have a belt buckle. And I just kind of give him a quick little belt buckle like that. And then a belt. A little line here to indicate him threading it through his Santa outfit, and then bulging out on the side here for the bottom of his outfit, and then little feet. So this is the style of Santa I like, but you again can do whatever style of Santa you like. I'm just gonna build his belly out a little bit. I feel like he needs to be a little bit fatter. Santa and I have cookies in common, so I'm familiar with the belly. You eat cookies, you're gonna have a belly. So I want him to have a nice big belly. He's not fit, but he's festive. So there's Santa. So let's color him in. We'll start painting him. So I've got my number 5 here, watercolor brush, some paper towel somewhere. Here we go. And I have my Michele I paint set that I've been using in the last couple of videos. I really like these paints. So this is the permanent red that I'm using, and I'm basically just going to have fun painting him in. Even though he's all red, this suit, I still take my time painting in the individual pieces. So I'm not going to paint in his sleeve at the same time that I paint the jacket. I like to take my time and just paint individual sections of my drawings. Now I am painting a little bit faster than I would normally paint, but I want to also paint the bear with you guys today. So I'm painting a little faster. You can, of course, fast forward this part. Don't have to watch me paint. Or you can paint along with me, which would be fun. Literally just shoving this color into the sections I want. No huge watercolor technique here. It's really kind of paint by numbers approach. So we'll give it a little bit of interest in a minute when we drop some color in, because I do want this coat to feel a little bit velvety. You know, have a little bit of velvet vibe to it. And that's the beauty of watercolor, is you can really play with textures. I'm going to put a little bit in his hat here. I'm going to move him out the way. Get his hat painted in. So you could do an assembly line of these for Christmas, because I think they'd be a really charming little addition to a gift, or even the gift itself. You could put it in a frame. You know, people who appreciate your artwork. I'm going to add a little bit of green to my red. Just create a little bit darker red here. And just kind of drop that color in a little bit. Just where I think there might be a little bit of shading. So a little bit under his beard here. A little bit under his belt. Nothing perfect, just dropping it in. So if the paper was more wet, you get this really kind of fun balloon effect where it would just spread out. And I think that's really the charm about watercolor. Same thing with his hat. Let's throw this darker red in there. Let's kind of create that velvet vibe. So any lines you don't like that are drying, you just wet them a little bit and soften them. So let's do his sleeve. So rub in the red on his sleeve. Now you can do a nice wash, or you can do a fuller saturation of color. Just have fun with your watercolor paints. So this one I'm going to do a very wet saturation. We'll see how that dries. I'm going to go to a little brush now. So this is a number, actually this one's been cut because they damaged it. Do I have another little brush? Like I said, my mess, I got so much mess going on. Okay, I don't handy, so I'm just going to use my number 5 again. So I'm going to take some green, some water, and while this is drying, I'm going to work on the little bit of the sprig that he's holding. So I'm just going to push my brush, put it on and push, and let it open up on its own. Create these little sprigs of greenery. So you can paint them in, or you can push on your brush. This brush doesn't seem to want to open up much without making them too big. I don't want them too big. And then maybe another one going off here, a little further out. So I made them quite uniform, which I don't like. So I'm going to break up that pattern a little bit. And we'll let that dry. I'm going to actually take a little bit of this red here and really water it down. And I want to put a little pink in his face just because he's cold. He's out delivering presents on a cold Christmas night. Take that out of his mustache, and we'll let that dry for a minute. So I think what I'll do is I'll take this paper and I'll just cut it so that I don't disturb it too much while we're drawing the bear. Okay, so we'll let that dry for a minute and we'll work on our Christmas bear. I really liked drawing him. He was really fun to draw and develop. So I thought I'd share him with you. And we'll come back to the Santa. So if you're not interested in the bear, of course, you can fast forward. So I draw this kind of teardrop shape for his muzzle and his nose. And then I do a little hat. And in the original video, I wasn't sure what he was going to hold, and then I thought of this salmon, and I thought it was really kind of cute. His little hat, because bears love salmon. So I'm going to bring down his face, and then his scarf, which gets wrapped tightly and neatly around his neck. Make him nice and cozy, even though he's got a big woolly fur coat on. And of course, I like my bears nice and fat from all the salmon they're eating. I'm going to give him a cuff here. And give him a mitt. And this is the back of his arm. And then we'll do another cuff here from his mitt. I'll move this line down here a little bit. And then we'll draw the salmon because I want it to look like he's holding the salmon. So we'll put the salmon lips out here. And then the fish. And then he comes back around like this. Nice little salmon tail. And then back up. So his thumb is behind the salmon, so we give a little line like that. And then his front of his mitt is in front of the salmon, so it kind of looks like he's holding the salmon a little bit better. A little eye. And of course you can give it some fins. And then we'll draw the rest of the bear. So he has his other arm that goes up. And then I gave him a different colored chest than the dark brown. I give him a kind of blonde chest. And the side of his belly coming down. And then of course his fun belt, his festive belt. If you've been watching my channel, you'll know I can't resist putting polka dots on red this time of year. Just makes me happy. There's his belt buckle. And then I just simplified his body by rounding it back off on the bottom. And then giving him some feet, little bear feet. So very cartoonish, very simple, very cute. Something fun to draw and something fun to paint. So let's fill him in while we're still waiting for Santa to dry. So he gets a nice bright red hat. Of course, you can pick whatever color scheme you like. And you see I went in his ear, and it doesn't matter because it's a fun, loose watercolor. The idea is just to have some fun. Put you in the Christmas spirit. And anybody who receives these little paintings you've done, they're going to love them because they're hand painted. And you drew these little characters yourself. So I'm going to put in some stripes in his scarf. So you'll notice that I don't just go straight. I'll curve my line, contouring, to make it look like the scarf is rolling with his neck. And we'll put some red in his gloves here, his mitts. And if you want to take your time and really paint this in nice and neat, go ahead. And his belt. It is kind of like a paint by numbers thing, which is really fun. Okay, so we can paint his feet at the bottom here. So I'm just going to go with a brown, a couple of browns. I'm not going to get into the color of the palette I'm using because you can use whatever browns you have. You can make him a black bear as well, or a polar bear. That would be really cute. Very, very Christmassy. And I'm just going to paint in some brown here. So when I choose my next color, I try to avoid any sections that are really still wet, just so the colors stay a little bit neater on this one and not so loose like I've painted in other videos. Oh, I don't want the bleeding effect in this. I want it to stay a little bit neater. And then I forgot to draw the line. So his chest comes down like this and would continue right here. So this would be brown. And then I get a little brown feet. So this is my first coat of brown. Kind of establish a color. And then I'll go in with a darker brown. So I like the chest color to match his muzzle. So more of a soft yellowy color. And then I'm going to go in and make this a little bit darker. And just kind of working my way down in the browns. And then I'll start dropping in some darker browns. So what I like to do for his face is I like to basically paint in the dark brown. And let it sit for a second while I work on dropping this dark brown color in other places. And I want him to look furry. So I'm going to let the paint kind of do its magic by drying in a certain way. So I just kind of drop the paint in and watch it dry a little bit while I'm working in other sections and see what I like. So while his face is drying a little bit there, I'm now going to take a piece of paper towel and I just kind of take my finger in there and then I will eliminate some of the paint by just kind of create those little cheeks, and then I'll soften the edges with a little bit of water just to kind of give his face a little bit more interest. So it's not just a perfect round circle of brown, just for something fun. And that's how you can have a lot of fun playing and building your characters, is doing things like that. So I'm just going to add a little bit more brown here and some spots that maybe are a little bit more shaded. Again, just kind of dabbing because I do want to create a bit of a fur feel. I don't want it perfect. And there we go. So this should be pretty dry by now. I'm going to go in with some bright green. I love this green with the red. It's very festive to me. But you can pick whatever colors work for you. Give that a coat. And then I'll go back in with a scarf. Oops. And then we'll go back in and give him a line of green in his scarf. And again, you want the colors to be relatively dry here. Pay attention to your contour lines. Just adds a little bit more realism, like the scarf is really wrapped around his neck. I'm going to give the coat of red one more. Just want that red to really pop, that Christmas red. So I'm going in with a little bit more saturation here, especially on the belt where I can really play those polka dots. Just be careful of the green being wet. Maybe a little more on his hat. And again, you can scrub it in, dry on dry kind of thing, make it look a little velvety. Just have fun. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. So then we'll go back to the Santa. We're back and forth here. I'm going to put the black in the Santa. So you can see how he's dried these kind of uneven colors, uneven textures. And that's what I love about watercolor. It really does kind of lend this textured effect. And in this case, a luxurious velvety coat that he's wearing. And that's one of my favorite things about watercolor. So we'll go into some dark black color here. Dark brown, dark black. Kind of mixing whatever colors I have on hand. And I'm going to now paint in his belt, and I forgot to paint those little red stripes that hold his belt in, the loops. So we'll have to come back and do that. Just painting in here. In this case, I think I'm going to leave his gloves white. They stand out a little bit better against his red coat. And then of course he's got black shoes. black boots. We'll paint some red berries because you know I can't resist a berry. And I'm going to do them pretty simple, just tiny little berries here. I think that my green is dry because I don't want brown berries. That's good. Clean up any parts that I missed. Put those in. I like them. It's just because I added that richness of red there. I think I should just kind of spread it through there. Okay, so we're gonna let him dry again. I'll go back to the bear. That's why it's kind of nice to paint more than one thing at a time. You know, you paint several of them at the same time. I'm gonna make his pants just a little bit more green. I feel like they need more green. I love the traditional Christmas colors of red and green and white. There we go. And do the center of his buckle too red. I forgot it. Get the red in there. And then we will maybe go to this kind of burnt soft yellowy color here. Very watered down because I don't want the color to be too overpowering. And I'm going to paint his chest in. Maybe a little bit more color than that. And I'm hoping that his scarf is dry by now. And I paint his belly in. This fun color. And his muzzle. And we forgot his ears. So I'm going to do this color. And go back into this darker brown. And drop that in his ears. Okay. Let's make some, take a little bit of this soft pink here. And gently paint in the salmon. I don't mind the salmon grabbing some of that chest color, because I'm going to put a sheen on the salmon with some gold paint anyways. But a nice pink salmon. He's bringing over a salmon for Christmas. A little bit more pink. Okay, cute. I think we'll darken his feet. Give him a little bit darker feet here. A little bit hairier. Again, very uneven, slapping it down. And then we're going to outline the whole guy with some pen, because that's the look I like. Don't have to do that, of course, but that's how I like to paint. So let's see here. What did we need to do with him? I think he's just about done, but I would like to add some gold. So I'm going to use some water here and really wake this gold up. Kind of have to disturb it a little bit to get it loaded on your brush. And then I'll do his buckle in gold. Now the gold might not reflect well in the camera. I'll shimmer it after. And then I like to rub a little bit of this gold over top of certain areas of his coat. Just a little shimmer. So when the card or the tag, whatever you decide to make with these, just kind of shimmers a little bit. Let's see if I can get it to show up on camera. But you get a little, and it will show up even more once it's dry. Put a little bit in his hat. So don't know if you can see that or not. But we'll let that dry a bit, and then I'll show you when we go to do the outline. Okay, let's go back to the bear. And we're going to do the same thing and add a little bit of gold. You can do silver. I prefer gold on the fish. Make him shiny. And again, you can put as much detail in this as you like. You could put scales on the fish. Bit of shine there. We're also going to put a little bit of this dark brown color. And we'll just put a little indication that he's actually standing on something. A bit too much there. Let's try that again. Okay, and same with Santa. We want him grounded. So we'll put a little shading there. Okay, I think they're dry enough to start drying around. So I'm just going to use, nope, not that one. We'll use our graphic line marker if it works. Some of my mark, no, this one's dry too. I have a whack load of markers out here that I have to go through. So this one is a pigment liner. I believe this one came with my Michele I water paint set here. It comes with a collection of additions like pen and pencil, ruler. It was a pretty fun little kit. I did do a product review on it. And it shows what's included in this. It's really a nice little set. And I like to just go around and put in whatever details I want. So I'm going to redraw basically the original drawing. Kind of helps clean up the lines, and you can put more details in. Puts like swirls in his beard, for example. Bring out his eye a little more. I'm going to put in the sleeve. And I just work my way around the entire original drawing, making sure it's dry. You can darken up the black a little with the marker if you want. Kind of cartoon it up a little. Again, nothing perfect. Nice and loose. And then the sprig that he's holding. I'll outline a few of these guys so it's consistent. So you can see I'm not outlining or retracing everything there, just a little to introduce that black marker texture that we've introduced. And you sign it. And then once he's fully dry, I'll take my eraser and I will eliminate the original pencil marks, assuming that you have a decent quality pen that won't bleed or rub off with it. And you could do that, of course, before you draw. So there's our Santa. Let's see if I can show you the shimmer at all. Hopefully you can see that. Really cute. And then let's just trace in the bear. He should be pretty dry by now. You do want to make sure it is dry. And then we're going to put the dots in the bear because that's my favorite part. I love the dots. It's part of his outfit. He's a hip dude. Okay. So you're basically just retracing your original sketch. This is where I put his eyes in. So he has eyeballs, the bear. You can just have so much fun designing and creating these characters. I started a moose the other day. I haven't done him yet completely. But I thought a moose with a Santa hat would be really cute. And then I'll do a little smile. And then these little kind of semicircle eyes. Finishing his scarf here. So how you draw the scarf in, remember, is important, because if you cross the line over, so if you went right through with this line, these two lines would be underneath. So this piece of scarf folds over, and this little piece of scarf goes under, so I'll draw the line to there. And now it looks like that scarf is tucked under. Those little details matter when it comes to the sketching. I swear 90% of watercoloring is the original sketch that you do. Take your time getting a really accurate sketch down and then coloring it in. All right, this little pom-pom. Go down to his feet here. And then some lines, your signature. And let's give him some dots. So I gotta find my Posca marker, which could take me a minute. I found it. Here's my Posca pen here. It's a bit messy. Oops, it's well used. So hopefully it won't bleed on me, but I'm just gonna give him some white dots here. I think my pen got ink in it because I'm impatient and wasn't waiting for anything to dry. So it's not crisp white. That's, I find, the only thing Posca can't cover up is ink. So it can cover paint, but if you're using those ink pads, the Posca pen will absorb the ink because it's acrylic paint basically. It's starting to clear up now. It's starting to turn a little bit more white. I just love these little polka dots on red. They just seem so festive to me. And you're going to find what appeals to you while you draw these little guys. I hope this gives you some inspiration of just having fun with your watercolor this time of year and creating these little cartoon characters. And you just take an animal and simplify it and kind of basically making it as human looking as possible, because clearly bears don't stand on two legs like this for very long. They don't wear pants. They don't wear scarves and mitts. So the more kind of human attributes you give them, the cuter they get when it comes to cartoons, in my opinion anyways. So just think of, how can I make this, you know, raccoon look more human? Well, throw a vest on him. You know, just that fun. Just kind of really playing and having fun with your little animals. Okay, so there we go. And of course our Santa, our little festive, simple shaped Santa. And again, you can make any size you want, small or big. This one I rounded off the corners. You can ink it after and really have fun. So I hope that gave you some inspiration. I do apologize for the previous videos and promises. I've learned my lesson with voiceover in that app. I won't be doing that again. So this is it, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Please feel free to leave a comment on what it is you would like to see on this channel, and a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe. All right, everyone, take care. Thank you. Bye.